I have 107 books on my physical TBR. This was not what I was thinking I was going to be reading. Yeah, Riley, the man that you are. Hey everyone, it's me Bailey and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, a number generator is going to be picking my reads. So I have 107 books on my physical TBR, and that has gotten a little bit out of hand. I haven't had my physical TBR over 100 in quite a while. I've been doing a really good job with making sure that I am reading the books that I'm bringing in, and also making sure that my physical TBR stays under 100 books. And with me having my birthday recently, I was gifted a few books, as well as I did go on a shopping spree, plus some new pre-orders that have come in, which have brought my total over 100. So today's video, I'm going to be trying to read some books for my physical TBR to hopefully get that number back down some. So I'm not sure how many books I'm going to be reading in this video, but I know that I'm planning to at least read 3, maybe 4 in this video. So I have 107 books on my physical TBR, like I mentioned, and I do keep track of that in my Notion. So I am going to, of course, be throwing up a screen recording of my Notion, and I will be using a number generator from Google 1 to 107 to determine what my reads are going to be. So with that, let's go ahead and pick the first book. Okay, so I've got my number generator 1 through 107. So our first number is 77. So I'm gonna scroll down on here to number 77. Okay, so number 77 is Immaculate Conception by Ling Ling Huang. Okay, so the first book that I'm gonna be reading for this video is Immaculate Conception by Ling Ling Huang, and this is a horror book. I was really excited about this book. This was on my most anticipated book releases of 2025, and I did get this through Aardvark, so I was able to grab a physical copy of this, and I'm super excited to have this. I read Natural Beauty by Ling Ling Huang last year and enjoyed it, so I wanted to read some more from this author, and so I'm super excited to read this. I am expecting to really enjoy this, so I'm definitely interested to see how I'm going to feel about this book. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into me reading this book. I wanted to give my first update on Immaculate Conception. So I just started this a few minutes ago, so I'm not super far into it. I am on chapter 4, which is page 38. So like I mentioned, not very far into this at all, but I did want to kind of give like my first initial thoughts and kind of a brief synopsis on what this book is about and what I feel like my thoughts are going to be on this book. So essentially we are following Anka, and she is in the art world. So this book is told in a then now timeline, which you guys know isn't my favorite. So I feel like I'm already kind of like about this book, because I just don't love when books are told in then now. Like I'm not a fan of that. I personally just don't really enjoy it. But we're following Anka, and she is in the art world, and so we start in the then. Okay, well first we start in the now timeline for like the prologue type situation, and there's like this event that's happening. She's in the bathroom, she's like, I need to come out of the bathroom, and then we go into like the then chapters where she is in college and she has met Mathilde, and you can tell off the bat that she is very jealous of Mathilde, like pretty much off the rip. Like she keeps making references to Mathilde and how good her art is, and how she kind of wishes that, you know, she was as brilliant as her, and everyone thinks that she's so amazing and brilliant, and she feels very mediocre. And so she ends up becoming friends with Mathilde, because Mathilde is suffering from depression really badly after her parents have passed. And so while she is creating this amazing art, she is also really suffering with her mental health. And so we see Anka kind of like, I don't really want to say take advantage of that, but like she makes it her mission to become Mathilde's friend. And you can tell that, or at least I can tell, that it seems almost like she wants to be her. Like it seems almost like she kind of wants to know more about Mathilde, but like in a very like psychotic kind of way. And I feel like that is kind of where the premise of this book is going to go. So essentially, when we're in the now timeline, right, they're at this art gallery exhibit situation, and Anka is finding out that Mathilde has been missing for around the last year-ish, and she is wondering why no one has said anything, why no one really like knew besides like a select group of people that she was missing. And so I guess she's trying to figure out, is Mathilde dead? And if she is, like what happened? But also too, there is emphasis on technology, because Anka kind of, her whole purpose of going to art school, or at least I don't even want to say her whole purpose, but like the reason that she got into art school is because she applied for the scholarship where people use technology as a part of their art. And so I feel like that will really play a role into what they're calling scaffold, which we haven't really talked about that, but from the description, scaffold is essentially this technology, I guess, that is used to enhance empathy and could allow Anka to inhibit Mathilde's mind and access her memories, artistic inspiration, and deep-seated trauma. So, and it says that undergoing this procedure would link Anka and Mathilde forever, but at what cost? And I'm thinking like Mathilde's sanity, because I feel like it would essentially allow Anka to be able to get a deep understanding of Mathilde in a way that she could then essentially become her. And to me, that is horrifying. So obviously like this book is horror, like of course. So I feel like that aspect of it is going to be horrifying to me. Like I'm definitely interested to see where the story is going to go and what happens when scaffold kind of comes into the picture, and what happens to Mathilde, and if, you know, she ends up being okay, because I feel like situations like this never end up fantastic. So I don't know, but so far 38 pages in, I am interested. I don't want to say I'm like really liking it or really enjoying it thus far, because we are still really getting into the story. And I feel like Ling Ling Hong's writing is so easy to read, but also so beautiful at the same time, but also so lyrical, like at the same time. Like it's easy to read, but it's also kind of lyrical. It's very beautiful. And sometimes I find myself like feeling a little disconnected to the writing, but not necessarily the story, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I am going to be reading some more of this right now. I don't know how much. I definitely think I want to finish the first part of this. This book is told in like a few different parts. I don't know exactly like how many parts. I think there's like 4 or 5 parts. So I definitely want to see about getting to the second part of this book before putting it down for the evening. But this book is pretty short. It is less than 300 pages. It is only 285 pages, so it's really not that long. So I might be able to finish this book this evening. I don't really know. I am kind of sleepy, but it is currently around 7:30 p.m. So I have a couple of hours before I'm planning on going to bed. So I'm thinking that maybe I can finish this in that time period, but we'll see. So that was my first update on Immaculate Conception, and I'm going to get back to reading. just over halfway into Immaculate Conception. I'm around like 51-ish, I guess, percent. I'm on page 137, which is the start of chapter 2 in part 2. So every time a new part starts, the chapters start over. So like I mentioned, I'm on page 137. And this first chapter in this part has been so weird. So we have kind of figured out what happened with Mathilde, and I am understanding the title of the book now, the whole Immaculate Conception thing. There is a interesting spin on that in here. It's definitely not at all what I was expecting. I'm not exactly sure what I was expecting when I found out that this book was called Immaculate Conception, but it definitely wasn't what I got. And I will say, now that we're about halfway through, I feel like the horror elements are really starting to kind of ramp up a little bit. And I feel like a theme that I've noticed when it comes to Ling Ling Huang and their books is that there has been body horror of some sort in their books. And this one is no different. And it's like they start out kind of, I don't even want to say normal, but like almost like psychological in a sense. Like you start out, you're following someone that you're like, okay, maybe they could benefit from some therapy, right? Like, and then as the story goes on, things start to get weird, and like the society around them, they want to fit in like really, really bad. I feel like I noticed that in Natural Beauty and as well as this one, which I mean, of course, Natural Beauty revolved more around like a wellness centered situation versus this, like we're in the art world. And of course, Anka really wants to be an artist and she is jealous of the success that Mathilde is having. And at this part that we're in, she's starting to kind of have some resentment towards her husband. We see how they meet and everything like that, and we see how he kind of helps catapult her into the world of the rich, the world of the famous, the world of having a lot of money, and starting out with her art finally being taken more seriously, I guess, than she thought that it would, because she doesn't feel like she is as great of an artist as others, which is why she's so obsessed with Mathilde. And you start to see her jealousy kind of show in the way that she treats their friendship, right? Because like towards the beginning, she is kind of a little bit more obsessed with Mathilde, right? And then she starts to kind of hold back her friendship in a way to kind of punish Mathilde. And you can definitely tell that anytime Mathilde is suffering, it really kind of hurts Anka, like, and she wants to do everything in her power to really like be there for Mathilde, even though their friendship has kind of like suffered over the years by her own doing, but she can't really stand to be like in second place, like when it comes to Mathilde, even though there isn't really a competition. Like it's like a competition that she's made up in her own head against her friend. And so that is definitely very interesting to read about. I'm definitely interested to see where this is going to go. This book is getting weirder the further that I go into it. I am not sure if I'm going to end up finishing this tonight. It is almost 9 p.m. So I'm thinking I might possibly put this down for the evening, but I'm definitely thinking I might read at least a little bit more before going to bed. But this will probably be my last update that I talk to you guys tonight. So I will probably talk to you guys again once I have finished Immaculate Conception. finished Immaculate Conception. So I don't know what I want to rate this book. This book is very in a lack of like coherent thoughts. Like, it's very artsy fartsy. So like this book is very, I don't even know, like a lot of it has to do with like the artistic world, right? And I am not like against that at all. Like, I will say I enjoyed this book. I don't know if I liked Natural Beauty more or if I like them around the same. Like, they're just so different, so it's hard to compare the two, but I did still really enjoy this book. Like, I don't think it's definitely not a 5-star. I'm thinking like could be a low 4, high 3-star. I just have so many questions, like, and the ending as well. I feel like the way that it ended, I feel like I would have loved to dive into that a little bit more, especially because there was like, I don't even know, like I'm at a like loss of words. Like, my thoughts are like not coherent at the moment about this because I obviously don't want to spoil anything, but I just want to understand like why. And like, it's so interesting to follow Anka as she is going through like from being just this very jealous person and then being able to kind of use this technology to almost inhabit, and not even almost, like to inhabit the person that she is so jealous of, and then for that to kind of like turn on her and cause like problems in other relationships that she was having, and how her jealousy is so just not even self-sabotaging, but like the way that it sabotages the people around her as well, because she's just literally that jealous. And like, I don't know, it was such an interesting read. The commentary was so interesting as well because it does talk a lot about AI and things like that. So that was interesting as well. But overall, I'm thinking I want to rate this book. I think I'm gonna go 3.75 stars for this. So if you like horror, if you like body horror, if you like art, if you like kind of a unfinished ending, like where you're kind of left to wonder like, what does this mean? Like, where would things go from here? Then I definitely would recommend this book for you. I love this cover. I think the cover is absolutely stunning, and like the pencil shavings that make up the cover is so interesting to me. And like also like the green, and like I did get this from Aardvark, so it's got like that soft matte cover with like the green and the blue, and like I am obsessed with these colors together. I love it. And so I don't know if I would recommend this to everyone. Like, I feel like I would recommend it just to a certain group, but I will say definitely give it a try and see, because you might like it. So finished this. So now I'm going to go to the office and we are going to pick my next read for this video. So one book down off the physical TBR and hopefully a few more to go. So with that being said, let's head on into the office and I'm going to pick the next book that I'm going to be reading for this video. Okay, so let's try this again because I did not press record when I picked the book. So I'm going to go on the honor system and keep the book that I picked, even though I didn't record it. So it's like, if it wasn't recorded, did it actually happen? In this case, yes, it did happen. So the number that was picked was number 58, which is Throne of Broken Gods by Amber V. Nicole. This is the second book in the Book of Azrael series, and I have been putting this book off for quite a while at this point. So I'm guessing this video was just the push that I needed to continue this series. So I will be starting this book probably tonight, but I will update you guys once I have some thoughts and things on this book, probably tomorrow or something like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna go grab it and get to reading. wanted to give my first update on The Throne of Broken Gods by Amber V. Nicole. I don't think I like this. So I don't know what is not working for me with this book, this series. I read the Book of Azriel. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was okay. I didn't really like Liam or Sam Kyle. I didn't really like him. And I thought Diana was like, okay, like she was fine for like a morally gray character, and in this book she is now morally black because of the things that transpired at the end of the first book, and I am not really liking this. I don't know if it's the writing that's really not doing it for me or what, the storyline, the premise, I don't know. I'm just really not having a good time reading this. I want to finish this because I used a credit for the audiobook, so that way it could hopefully help me get through this book. But even still, like, I'm not liking it, and it's so long. Like, there are so many words on these pages. Like, I've had to switch from the physical book to my Kindle because the amount of words per page is actually kind of insane. Like, I don't know if you guys can see that really well, but like there are so many words on the page, and like I feel like I'm not liking the story enough to want to sit here and read all these words. Like, I am having a really hard time with this book, and I think if I can push through this book and finish it, I do not think I will be continuing on with the series. I just don't think that this is a series for me. Like I said, I think it's probably the writing. Like, I'm not really vibing with the writing. I don't really like the main characters. Honestly, now that I'm like talking about it and like sitting here trying to explain, I'm not really liking any of it. Like, I don't like the characters all that much. I don't really care about the storyline or the premise. I don't like the writing. I don't like anything about it, honestly. And I want to DNF it, but also I used a credit. And so I'm like, do I just want to push through? Because like I am literally barely 100 pages in, and I feel like I have been reading this for 10 days. Like, and I feel like that was one of my complaints when I was reading the Book of Azriel, which was how long it felt. Like, I think I read the Book of Azriel over 4 days, and I felt like it took me 2 months. And I feel like the same could be said for this. I started this book last night. I've been listening to it on and off all day, plus last night I started it, and I've barely read 100 pages. And I'm like, what? Like why? Why is this so long? Like, why are there so many words? And why are there, like, what is happening? Like, why? So, I'm like torn because I'm like, do I finish it? Do I not? I feel like obviously if I finish it, that might hinder my rating, but also too, I'm like, I don't know, because I don't know. I don't like it. Like, and I feel like that has been a complaint recently, I would say, with some fantasy books that have kind of blown up that I've been seeing a lot of people talking about. Like, I really didn't like, what is that series? The that Carissa Broadbent series, the Daughter of No World. I did not really like that series. I read the first book, thought it was okay, DNF the second one, and I feel like my thoughts around the Book of Azriel compared to that book are kind of similar in the fact that like everyone loves these series, and they're like, oh, even if you don't like the first one, like the books just keep getting better and better and better. And I feel like I only somewhat liked the first book and like barely enough to continue, but it's like the further that I get into the second book, it's like it kind of solidifies my thoughts that I didn't really like it. And so it makes me not want to continue, because this book is like over 600 pages, and I'm just like, I'm not wanting to sit here and read it. Like, I feel like if I got spoiled for this book and the rest of the series, like I literally would not be mad. I would not be upset. I would just be like, okay, and then move on to the next. Wouldn't even worry about reading it. So I'm like, that's usually my like determining factor on whether or not to DNF. But I'm like, I used a credit. Like, that is like my only hang up is like I used an audiobook credit for this book. So do I push through or do I DNF? I don't know. Maybe I will try and give it another 50 to 100 pages, see if it kind of like gets me back into it. But at this rate, like it's not looking very good. And I feel like that is another reason that I've been putting this book off for so long, is because I wasn't liking it. And I feel like that is something that I need to start like getting better about, is like if I read the first book in a series and I'm not like loving it, that I don't need to try to push my way through the second book, especially if I didn't love the first book, if I'm not interested. And I'm definitely not feeling interested in this. And I wanted to like this book so bad. I wanted to like this series so bad. I'd heard such amazing things about it. So but I don't think this is for me. So I will read another 50 to 100 pages and see if maybe I can get a little bit more into it the further in I get. But this is just a revenge story right now, and like I'm understanding it, but like I'm having a hard time like caring, because I didn't really connect with Diana enough to really want to read about her revenge arc. Like it's just like, you know, so I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm probably gonna give it just a little bit longer and see. But honestly, I think my next update will be whether or not I end up DNFing this book or not. So I have decided to DNF. So I made it to chapter 17, and in the physical book, it is page 132, but in the ebook, it's page 156. I don't know why there's such a big discrepancy in the books. Maybe because this is the indie book and I think it's since been like re-edited or something with the physical book. I mean with the ebook, with it being picked up by a traditional publisher and all of that. I don't know. But I made it 22% and I am DNFing. We just got, I don't even know, the hand was coming back. I don't even know. I don't care. Like I'm like, I can't. Like I get that Diana is mad. I get that she's upset. And she has every right to be. She was done so dirty and I hate that for her. I really do. But over the last 22%, the last 150 pages, last 130 pages, 130 to 150 pages, we have literally only heard about how pissed off she is. And it's just been constant. It's been saying the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm tired. I don't care. I don't want to read about it anymore. I am done. So DNFing Throne of Broken Gods. There was a reason I was putting it off, and now I know. And it was because I didn't want to read it. So DNF here. So now that I have decided to DNF this book, I will be picking another book to read in this video. So I'm going to go to the office so that way we can pick our next book and see what book I'm going to be reading next to this video, and hopefully that one goes a little bit better than this one. I will meet you guys in there. Okay, so we are now back in the office and I am going to get my screen recording started. So we now have 105 books on my physical TBR. So I have updated my number generator and everything to match. So we're going to go ahead and generate the number and see what our next book is going to be. Okay, we got number 99. So I'm thinking that's probably going to be something that's a little bit newer that I recently just got. So number 99 is Well Actually by Maisie Eddings. I'm actually really excited about this because everything that I've read from Maisie Eddings I have enjoyed, so I am hoping to like this as well. This is another aardvark book, so hopefully I like this one. We will see. I'm gonna grab it and then I will get started on reading it. So I'm here to give my update on Well Actually. So I am on chapter 5, which is page 60. And so far this is going way better than any of the books we've talked about in this video so far. I am having such a fun time with this book being only 50 pages in. So I feel like this book is so reminiscent of today. Like, it is very much like, I don't even know how to like put it into words, but like essentially we're following Eva, and she hosts like a very similar type show kind of to Chicken Shop Date, and except it's like over hot dogs instead of chicken, and she like interviews B and C list celebrities while eating a hot dog, and she has a very like dry kind of personality during these videos, very similarly to in Chicken Shop Date. And we're also following Riley, and he is a podcaster. He has this like podcast where he is essentially like telling, it's like a women-centered podcast, right? Where he's like talking about men and how like giving advice to women like from a man's POV. So it's like if he, you know, is calling someone that's not blood related to him his blood brother, like you should run, like type of situation. Like he's essentially giving women advice for men, I guess, like catering towards the female gaze, and she is kind of catering towards the male gaze, but like not intentionally. And so she ends up seeing a video of him on her social media, and she stitches one of his videos and calls him out for the time that they spent together in college, where they had gone on a few dates, they had a hookup, and then he ghosted her. And so she called him out on social media and while she was drunk one night, and essentially the video goes viral and they invite him onto her hot dog segment. And so they have this interview and they agree to go on 6 dates so that way he can essentially right his wrongs. And you can just tell already that he is so down bad for her, and I'm living for it. I love it. Like, she is very much giving black cat, he's giving golden retriever, and I am eating it up so far. I don't know if I'm going to read any more of this tonight, but I did make it 60 pages in, and I am loving being back with Maisie Eddings' writing. Like, her books are honestly so good to me. Like, A Brush with Love is one of my all-time favorite books, and I am just so interested to see where this story is gonna go and how things are gonna end up. And of course, like, it's a romance, so they're gonna end up together and all the things, but I'm excited to see them going on their dates. They are going on 6 dates, and he is so like suave. Like, he was like telling her, he was like, oh yeah, like, you don't want to do this, but like 6 dates to make it seem like I'll be the best man for you. And then she was like, no, I'm not doing it. And he was like, yeah, but then that's 7 dates. And he was like counting up the dates until he got to like 10 dates because he like wants to go on so many dates with her. And I was like, yeah, Riley, the man that you are. And so I did see that the trigger warning has something to do with like grief of a loved one. So I'm assuming the reason that it didn't really work out with them in college is because it probably has something to do with Riley losing someone. So I'm definitely interested to see what that situation ends up being. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm super excited that this is the one that was picked, and I haven't really heard anyone talking about this. So if you've read this, let me know. And if you have this on your TBR, I'm thinking maybe you might wanna like bump it up a little bit, because so far I'm really enjoying it. I might listen to a little bit more before going to bed, but it is just after 10 o'clock, so I'm thinking I'm about to shut down for the night and then probably just finish reading this tomorrow, because I definitely feel like this is one that I could crank out in one sitting. So I will also say I have tabbed a couple of things in this book so far, so I'm feeling like that is a very good sign. So I do have like 3 little tabs in here so far, but yeah, I'm super excited to continue reading this book, and I will probably update you guys again once I get to around the 50% mark. So I wanted to give an update on, well, actually, so I am just over halfway through this book. I'm on chapter 13, which is page 203, and I am absolutely loving this book. I feel like I see myself in Eva, and like honestly, like it's making me have so many like emotions towards this book. And I feel like too, the chapter that I just read was so like hard hitting, because during one of their dates, Riley ends up taking them to see his therapist, and they kind of like dive into some things that have really been bugging Eva and kind of trying to get behind what really started this whole thing between them, and like what happened when they were in college and why Eva has so much resentment towards Riley. And it was just such a strong chapter. Like it was so powerful. Like it was actually so good, and I feel like I will be thinking about it for a very long time. But also too, this book is just so good, and like I'm really enjoying it. I feel like we're also kind of really diving into what it's like being a woman in the world of corporate politics, and what it's like to have to deal with misogyny and dealing with men who think that they can look down on you because you're a woman. And I feel like we're really seeing how harmful that can be to an individual, and so it's definitely interesting reading about that. I will say the representation in this book for the LGBTQ element is phenomenal. We've got Ava, and she is pansexual. We've got Riley, he is bi, his roommate is trans, and Eva also has a former roommate who is poly. So I feel like the representation in here has been very like abundant, and that is really fun to read about. So I am really enjoying this so far. I'm so excited to continue reading this book. I'm just having such a good time. So I'm gonna get back to reading. Like I mentioned, I'm a little bit over halfway, so I definitely see myself finishing this here soon. I am really feeling like this is going to be, I don't really know if it's going to be a 5-star just yet, but I definitely feel like it's going to be a high 4-star. Like I am really enjoying this book. So I'm gonna get back to reading, and I will update you guys once I have more to update. It's a little bit later now, and I just finished Well Actually by Maisie Eddings, and I loved this book. I think I'm going to rate it 4.5 stars. I absolutely loved this book. I feel like this book was almost perfect. Like this book was so good, and the banter in here was so good. I feel like this was exactly my sense of humor, and I just felt like I related to Eva so much, and I just had such a good time reading this. This was so fun, and I feel like it used the use of social media in a way that wasn't cringy. Like it wasn't giving names to the social media platforms that we use that can be seen as like cringy in books and like make them very dated. Like this did not have that, but it still referenced a lot of social media because it is a big part of the premise of this book. But I feel like it was done so well. I feel like I just enjoyed everything about this book. Like literally it was a second chance romance with no past and present. Love. There was no third act breakup. Also love. The male main character was emotionally mature. He was in therapy. Love. There was representation. We love. And it wasn't too long. I feel like it was like the perfect length. I feel like the third act conflict was very realistic. I feel like this book was just good, and I really enjoyed this and would definitely recommend this if you have not read it. If you are a fan of Abby Jimenez, I definitely recommend reading Maisie Eddings' books. There was talk about grief in here because our main male character does end up losing someone very close to him, and so you are seeing kind of how he dealt with that and how it kind of impacted how he reacted and what led up to the events of her calling him out on social media. And so you do get more on that and how he handled his grief and how he used his grief and turned it into something good. And this book was just, it was so good. It was so good. I will probably be thinking about this book for a while. I enjoyed this so much. So like I said, if you're fans of Abby Jimenez and you're looking for something that gives you similar to the sweet rom-com vibes with the hard-hitting topics, Maisie Eddings is for you. And I definitely recommend this one and A Brush with Love. So good. So now that I am done with this book, I'm so happy that I read this. But now that I am done with this book, I think I will be reading one more book for this video. So I'm gonna go to the office so that way we can use the number generator and find the last book that I'm going to be reading for this video. So I will meet you guys in there. So now I am back in the office and we are going to pick our next book. This will be the last book that I'm reading for this video, so I'm hoping that it's going to be a good one. So I'm going to throw up my number generator. I have 104 books left on my physical TBR, so we are going to generate and see. Okay, number 17. That is Obsidio, which is the third book in the Illuminae files. I don't think I've read the second book in this series. I need to double check. And so let me look and see really quickly. Okay, so I have not read the second book in this series. So since it gave me the third book, I will be reading the second book for this video. So this is definitely interesting. This was not what I was thinking I was going to be reading next. So I will be reading Gemina, which is book 2 in the Illuminae files. I did read book 1 a few years ago. I think I've read it like twice, I think maybe. I know for a fact that I read it. I started it once and I don't think I ever finished it. And I know a few years ago I did actually read it and I think I liked it for the most part. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I read this back in 2020 when I was like coming off of my like really big reading slump. So, okay, guess I will be picking up the second book for this video. So let me go grab that and I'll let you guys know once I've started it. Okay, so I have grabbed my copy of Gemina and I got the audiobook really quickly from my library because this book is quite old. Like I figured that there probably wouldn't be any kind of line for the audiobook or the ebook, but I think these are actually out of print, or if they aren't, I don't think they like sell the hardcovers anymore because I know that I had to buy this one secondhand from Pango because so I had Illuminae and then I found Obsidio on like a bargain table at like Books A Million or something, but I could never find Gemina and I didn't think that they sold it anymore, so I bought it secondhand so that way I could have like the matching set, obviously, because these books are honestly so interesting and cool and unique in the way that they made them. And I feel like this was back when sprayed edges were like still not as like common or as popular. So when you found books that were doing something like different, it was like more unique, I guess. And so this series is like a sci-fi series and it's told completely in like mixed media format, and like it's not told like in your average like text on the page kind of like format that you normally see, but this is a young adult sci-fi book. And honestly, these editions are just so cool because like, so the dust jackets are like transparent and then you have the book underneath that looks very cool and interesting because it's like case files and stuff for the book. Like these are literally so cool to me. And then obviously when the dust jacket is on, you can like see through like where things were like blacked out underneath, so like the white text is like showing through and you can see like kind of through the cover and like everything like that. And like I just think that these books are so cool because like even if I don't end up liking this book or I never finish the series, like I don't think I will ever get rid of these books because I love the way that they look so much. But that is like a different thing in and of itself. But as far as this book, so I have been sitting here, I have already started it. I definitely think that this will be a very quick read. It's like maybe been 5 minutes and I'm already on page 23. So I don't see this taking long at all. And especially with the audiobook, I think I can just like play it in the background while I'm like doing stuff just around the house and whatnot. So I definitely think I can get through this book pretty quickly. It is a very long book, but like I said, it is told through mixed media format, so I don't think that it will take me that long to read because it is 659 pages, so pretty chunky book. So but I am going to go back and get on the couch and do some more reading of this, and I will update you guys once I have more to update. I don't really know what this is about from what I could tell so far, and from like the dust jacket we are following Hannah and Nick, and Hannah is the daughter of this captain of like the station that they're on, and Nick is the member of a crime family. And this has nothing to do with Katie and like the other guy that was like from the last book. Like I think their story is like complete, but I think this ship and the ship that Katie and them are on are like connected somehow, but in this book we're following different characters. And I think that's why I put this book off for so long, is because I knew that like whenever I did pick it up it wouldn't be about the same characters from Illuminae. So yeah, I don't know, hopefully that's like coherent enough. But yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna go do some reading, and I'm not really sure how I'm gonna update you guys on this book, but yeah, I'm gonna go and I will probably update you guys again tomorrow and see like where I'm at. Good morning. So it is now the next day, and I wanted to give updates on Gemina. So I have been listening to the audiobook. I listened to quite a bit last night as well. So I've made kind of a dent in the book. So I'm 232 pages in to the book. So I've made like kind of quite a bit of progress, and I must say this book is kind of boring. So we're following Hannah and Nick, and they are on this like ship, and they're these like rogue intergalactic pirates type situation that come onto the ship, murder Hannah's father, and they're trying to take over this ship. And we've got Hannah and Nick, and they are essentially like trying to survive, and they're after Hannah. They've already killed her dad, just all of this that's going on, and it's fine. Like it's fine. Like I'm not loving it. Like I will say the book itself is cool, the mixed media is cool, everything about the physical aspect of the book is cool. However, the plot is just not doing it for me. It's really kind of like making me bored. So I don't know, maybe it'll kind of pick up here soon. I'm gonna give it a little bit longer and see. But yeah, just right now, not loving it, super bored. But also too, like I'm just not a big fan of sci-fi, and like this is young adult sci-fi. So yeah, I don't know. But I figured I would give that update really quickly on my thoughts so far, and I'll update you guys again later, probably like once I finish it, because I don't really see myself having any updates between now and then. But yeah, so I will talk to you guys again soon once I have more updates on Gemina. Okay, so I have finished Gemina. I am rating this book 2.75 stars. I just really was not that big of a fan of this book. truth be told, it was very boring to me. I found myself just like wanting to get through it and not really wanting to pick it up. I don't know if I will read the third one. I feel like maybe at some point, but I just didn't really care enough to want to pick it up immediately or anything like that. And then I also just didn't really care about the ending or anything that was really going on in this. So 2.75 stars to this. I would recommend this series though for like young adults for sure, especially like young adult readers who are interested in sci-fi. Like I feel like this would be a great read for them. Definitely probably around the age of like 14 to like 16. I feel like this would be a great story for readers around that age who like sci-fi and who are wanting to read more. And because this is told in like the mixed media format, it is like really interesting and fun to like flip through and read through. So definitely if you're looking for something like that, I would definitely recommend this for the younger reader. But for me, just this story just wasn't for me personally. But I definitely will be keeping this edition of this book because I do really like it and I do want to have this on my shelf even if I didn't exactly love the story. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on Gemina, and that is all for today's video. If you liked it, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me. I'll have all my social media linked in the description. I feel like this video ended up being so good. I know that I had a DNF, but I was able to find a book that I really liked in this video as well. And I was able to get 4 books off of my physical TBR, which is amazing. So happy with those results. And let me know down in the comments if you have read any of these books that I talked about in this video, or if I have put them on your radar and you're planning on reading any of them now. I would love to chat about it in the comments. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you made it to this point in the video, leave the hot dog emoji for Well Actually, which is my favorite book that I read in this video, to let me know that you made it to this point. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.